When you're thinking about the level, our levels that we are now operating with in our current level system, it got an upgrade a few weeks ago. Like the minimum noble level knight starts at level 50, and then prince is at level 70, and the highest level that has been claimed and locked in is 88. So the king and queen of the kingdom are on that level. So when you think about this scale, like the level 50 to 88, it kind of conveys the feeling that it is pretty resonant. There are no newbies in the kingdom at all. Like everybody are operatives, and you think that they are pretty much in the same ballpark. But in fact, the difference between level 50 and level that is approaching 90 is pretty big, because the level numbers are logarithmic representation of Volta, and Volta means the power, influence, reach, authority, ability to make things happen. And the difference in the magnitude of Volta between a entry-level knight and entry-level prince is 100 times. So the typical difference is in, let's say, hourly wages in the system. In Estonia, an entry-level person, like the lowest possible, even illegal worker, might make 2 euros per hour. Probably not less. If we're talking about 5 euros per hour, we're talking about standard wage for unskilled employee. And then when you go to the top professionals, like how much do the top lawyers charge for their services, we're talking about like 200 or something per hour. So the scale is here. The difference between the lowest possible wage and the highest possible one is 100x per hour. And you already think of that as being a big difference. But that is the difference between a knight and a prince. And the difference between a prince and the king equals the difference between the knight and the prince. But since people are usually concerned about their own band, their band means like the like range of levels that are in around you. So your own level and the levels around you, they are your band. So if you're thinking in terms of like what kind of people you interact with, typically they are around your own level. It's very rare for people to interact with other people who are like significantly higher or lower than themselves. So, for instance, the total amount of time that I spend in interactions with knights, those people in the kingdom who are in level 50, even though we have plenty of them, like around level 50 there are many people there, but like the number of fucks that I give to those people is very limited. And the reason for this is that their bubble of existence, their network, their reach is around their own level. So their friends are approximately the same level. Their like immediate higher ups are a few levels, typically let's say 10 levels higher, and they already regard people who are 20 levels higher than them as high. The same way as a person who is making 2 euros per hour is regarding the top wage earners in Estonian society that is making 100 times more. So there is the perception of difference. There is already some perception of difference between you making 2 euros or 20 euros. But you can still communicate. But if you make 2 euros and the other guy is making 200 euros, the difference is already so big that your interaction typically is reduced to structured interaction, such as saying, good morning out of courtesy. So this Volta that we have, the absolute values of Volta, there are striking differences between them. And the reason for this is that they reflect the actual difference, not the socially acceptable difference, or like wishful thinking difference or equalitarian principle or something. They represent the actual differences in the power. So the fact, the reality in the kingdom is that I still possess actually this is a discussion topic. How much percentage-wise of the kingdom is dependent on me? What percentage do I possess of the Volta? Have we reached the point where the rest of the kingdom actually possesses more power than me?
I don't think so, no.
And please?
I'm not sure of the statistics, of the numbers. I'm not aware, but I don't think so. I think you still possess more.
The numbers say that out of the 400 million Volta existing, me and my wife have approximately half. And because me and my wife, we form the union that like is acting uniformly towards outside world through me, because like many people, they are complete in themselves, or they have their own like masculine feminine polarity going on inside just one body, so that they are kind of single, like they act on the principle of being single. Both guys and women also may be like considering themselves as being a complete unit, as one person alone. But the imperial family is not such, that we like neither of us is a complete unit by him or herself. So when be thinking about the power that the dragon has, the dragon is just, it is not just a dragon. You see the imperial coat of arms, what it says is that there is the shield. And the shield itself does not feature a dragon. It features a yellow ball on white background. But what is supporting the shield are two animals, and one of them is the dragon, but the other one is a unicorn. The dragon is golden. The noble metal of gold is embodied with the dragon. At the same time, the unicorn is silver, meaning that the other metal, in heraldry, they only have two metals, gold and silver. So the gold represents the masculine principle, whereas the silver is the feminine. So these both animals, they are equal in size, equal in stature. One is not higher than the other. It cannot be said that gold is more than silver in heraldry. They are just two metals. They represent the two principles. But when you think about like the visible part, it seems that it is the dragon, me, who is calling the shots, making the decisions, doing the communication, enforcing my orders, like doing everything. And the reason why it feels that this is the thing is because it's a fact. It is the dragon who is the doing, because dragon is the doer. The dragon's principle is masculine and his polarity is active. Whereas the other principle, the feminine principle, is embodied with the unicorn. And that polarity is that principle is feminine and the polarity is passive. So the difference between something being a principle and being a polarity is that principles are kind of standalone concepts that are not, that they are like, how to say, you cannot define principles in terms of other principles because they are standalone. But you can count the magnitude of polarities because activity and passivity are in the same scale. So if you say that somebody is active, you can discern how active he is. You can compare the level of activity between two spec ops generals, for instance. It is possible, even if it's not necessarily easy to give the, to assign a numerical value of activity, but at least it is possible. There might be a way to think that it is, somehow vague or up to interpretation. Of course it is. Like what we have done with Volta is that at the same time it is difficult to kind of correctly assign how much authority people have, and also they have a certain and a defined number of it. So the number is intended to represent the reality. Even though it is a market process and many actors are involved in how people gain their Volta, at the same time the process is energetically and practically guided, and structures and procedures are put into place to make it represent the existing reality as much as possible, and also give incentives to people to kind of see in front of them what kind of opportunities are given to them to increase their Volta. So Volta is an item, and it is a monetary item, meaning it has a monetary value. So what we are doing is that we are not only giving money to people, we are giving the power to create money, which is even more fundamental. We are doing this, and we are saying that we are doing this based on what the people already are. So the way how we give Volta is based on something you already are. When you gain the Volta, you have already done the thing. Yes, it continues. So the Volta that the dragon has and is using and enforcing, it includes also the Volta that is assigned based on being embodied in the unicorn, because the unicorn and the dragon, they are one. They are supporting the same shield. The shield always only has two supporters. Well, most commonly. And these two supporters of the same shield mean that they are the principles. Okay, we have to stop here because the energetic disturbance is not possible. What do you want?